There are days that find their place on our calendars weeks in advance. Birthdays, celebrations, meetings, vacations. And then there are the days that aren't written anywhere. The days that begin with nothing more than a quiet whisper in your heart. The kind of day that gently reminds you that life isn't only about what we achieve. It's also about what we give. This was one of those days. As I woke up that morning, I didn't have a detailed program. There wasn't a stage waiting for us. There wasn't an audience. There wasn't an event organizer expecting our arrival. There wasn't even a guarantee that everything would go according to plan. There was only one thought that stayed with me from the moment I opened my eyes. Today, I want to make someone smile. Sometimes life becomes so busy that we forget how powerful one simple act of kindness can be. We become consumed by our own responsibilities, our own deadlines, our own ambitions, our own struggles. And without even realizing it, we stop noticing the people quietly carrying burdens around us. Yet every single day, somewhere, a mother wakes up wondering how she'll provide for her child. A guardian wonders how to stretch the little they have just one more day. A parent silently sacrifices their own comfort so their baby can sleep peacefully. Those thoughts remained with me, and I knew I couldn't change every situation. I couldn't solve every problem, but perhaps, just perhaps, I could make today a little easier for someone. That was enough, and that was all the reason I needed. So the day began. As my team gathered, there was excitement in the air. Not because we were about to do something spectacular, but because we were about to do something meaningful. Sometimes those are two very different things. The world often celebrates spectacular moments, big stages, bright lights, breaking news, but the moments that quietly change lives often happen where very few people are watching. That morning, our work began with something very simple: packaging diapers. One package after another, one bag after another. It may have looked like an ordinary task to someone passing by, but to us, every bag represented something much bigger. It represented comfort. It represented dignity. It represented relief. And above all, it represented love. As I picked up each diaper, I found myself imagining the little child who might wear it. Perhaps it would be a newborn discovering the world one tiny breath at a time. Perhaps it would be a playful toddler learning to walk. Perhaps it would help a parent sleep just a little more peacefully that night. Those thoughts made every single package feel personal. There is something beautiful about preparing a gift for someone you've never met. You don't know their name, you don't know their story, you don't know what challenges they're facing, yet somehow your heart still chooses them. That's what compassion does. It connects people long before they even meet. As we continued packing, the room slowly transformed. What had started as stacks of diapers slowly became colorful gift bags lined neatly across the room. Looking around, I couldn't help but smile. The colors were beautiful. The bags were neatly arranged. Everything looked ready for the journey ahead. But the most beautiful thing in that room wasn't what we could see. It was the intention behind every single bag, because every one of them carried a silent message: you matter. Someone thought about you today. Someone hopes this makes your day just a little easier. I believe kindness has a language that doesn't always need words. Sometimes it speaks through actions, through presence, through generosity, through simply showing up. As we continued preparing everything, I couldn't help but reflect on how precious childhood really is. Children don't ask to be born into particular circumstances. They don't choose where they grow up. They don't choose the financial situation of families raising them. Yet every child deserves to be cared for. Every child deserves comfort. Every child deserves love. And while diapers may seem like something ordinary, anyone raising a young child knows they are far from ordinary. They are one of those everyday necessities that quickly become expensive. Something parents need over and over again, week after week, month after month. Sometimes, people underestimate how much of a difference practical support can make. It doesn't always have to be something grand. Sometimes, easing just one daily expense can bring enormous relief. That thought encouraged me even more. By now, the room had become a sea of colorful gift bags, rows upon rows stretched across the floor. Seeing everything together made the reality sink in. This was actually happening. The preparation was complete. The next step was taking everything to the families waiting without even knowing we were coming. One by one, we carried the bags to the car. Back and forth, again and again. Each trip made the vehicle a little fuller. Each trip brought us one step closer to the journey ahead. Eventually, the boot was filled. The back seats were filled. Every available space had found a purpose. Standing beside the car, I paused for a moment. I simply looked at it, not because I was impressed by how much was inside, but because I imagined what those bags would soon become. A smile, a moment of relief, a parent saying, "Today I don't have to worry about diapers." Sometimes we measure success by how much we keep, but perhaps true success is measured by how much joy we can create for others. That thought stayed with me. Before leaving, I took one last look around. Everything was ready. The team was ready. The vehicle was ready. And so was my heart. As we climbed into the car, the atmosphere changed. The excitement became even more real. There was laughter. There were conversations. There were guesses about what the day might look like. Someone joked about how much walking we might end up doing. Little did we know, we would remember those words later. As the engine started, I took a deep breath. This wasn't simply another drive. It felt like the beginning of a story, not a story about me, not even about my team, but a story about kindness, about strangers becoming neighbors, about compassion finding its way into ordinary streets. Our destination was Embulbul, a vibrant community situated between Karen Shopping Center and Gong Town. Many people drive past places without ever truly seeing them, but every community has its own heartbeat, its own stories, its own dreams, its own people working hard every single day to build better lives for themselves and for their children. As we made our way there, I found myself quietly looking through the window, watching people begin their day, watching children walking, watching businesses opening, watching life unfold in its ordinary beauty. It reminded me that every person we pass has a story we'll probably never know. Someone may be celebrating, someone may be grieving, someone may be praying for a breakthrough, someone may simply need one reason to believe tomorrow will be better. And perhaps today, we would become one small part of someone else's story, not because we had all the answers, not because we could solve every challenge, but because kindness never asks us to do everything. It simply asks us to do something. As Embulbul slowly came into view, I felt a mixture of excitement and gratitude. The journey we had imagined all morning was finally about to begin, and none of us could have imagined just how unforgettable this day would become. As we drove into Embulbul, I quietly whispered a short prayer. Not for recognition, not for cameras, not for praise. I simply prayed that God would guide our steps, that He would lead us to the families who needed these diapers the most, that every bag would reach the hands it was meant to reach. Sometimes we spend so much time trying to control every detail in life, yet some of the most beautiful moments happen when we simply trust the journey. That morning, we didn't have a list of names. We didn't know every road. We didn't know every home. But somehow, I wasn't worried. Deep inside, I believed we were exactly where we were supposed to be. As we began unloading the bags from the car, people naturally became curious. Some looked from a distance, some smiled, some wondered what was happening. It wasn't long before conversations began. One greeting turned into another, one smile became another smile. Before we even realized, we were no longer strangers. We were simply people sharing a beautiful moment together. One thing I will never forget is how welcoming everyone was. Sometimes people imagine that kindness only comes from the person giving, but on this day, we received just as much kindness as we shared. People welcomed us warmly. They spoke to us with genuine friendliness. They pointed us in the right direction. Some even said, "I know a family with a young baby." Others offered to walk with us. Some carried bags alongside us. Others simply encouraged us with their words. It was incredible. We hadn't asked for help, yet people willingly became part of the journey. That touched me deeply. It reminded me that kindness doesn't belong to one person. It grows, it spreads, it invites others to join. Watching complete strangers become part of our team was one of the most beautiful moments of the day. Soon we began walking and walking and walking. At first, it didn't seem like much. We carried a few bags, visited a few homes, shared a few smiles. But before long, we realized this day would require much more than we had imagined. The road stretched further than expected. The footpaths led us into different parts of the community. Some were wide, some were narrow. Some were busy with people going about their day. Others were quiet. Every turn introduced us to another family, another conversation, another opportunity to brighten someone's day. As I walked through the neighborhood, I found myself noticing the little things. Children playing together, neighbors greeting one another, people working hard to earn a living, clothes drying outside homes, laughter floating through the air. It reminded me that every community has its own rhythm, its own heartbeat, its own beauty. Sometimes we become so focused on what people don't have that we forget to notice everything they do have. Community, resilience, hope, strength. Those are things no amount of money can buy. As we continued our journey, we met mothers carrying babies close to their hearts. We met grandmothers carrying the little ones with incredible devotion. We met guardians doing everything they could to raise children with love and dignity. Every face carried its own story. Some stories were spoken, many remained unspoken, but one thing was clear. Every child was deeply loved. Watching those little children reminded me why this outreach mattered. Childhood passes so quickly. The days may sometimes feel long for parents, but the years move incredibly fast. One day a child needs to be carried. Before you know it, they are running through the streets, starting school, growing into young adults. Every stage deserves to be supported. Every parent deserves encouragement. Sometimes encouragement comes through words. Sometimes it comes inside a colorful gift bag. As we handed over the diapers, I noticed something beautiful. People didn't only receive a package, they received the feeling that someone cared enough to come. Someone cared enough to walk those roads. Someone cared enough to spend time with them. Sometimes presence becomes the greatest gift of all. I have always believed that generosity is not measured by the size of a gift. It is measured by the love with which it is given. Whether you give something large or something small, when it comes from a sincere heart, people feel it. Again and again, I saw smiles that reminded me why kindness mattered. Some mothers smiled with quiet gratitude, others laughed, some looked surprised, some held diapers close while thanking us. There were moments when words simply weren't necessary. A smile said everything. A handshake said everything. Even eye contact carried meaning. Those are moments that stay with you, moments that no camera can fully capture. As the hours passed, we became more familiar with the community. People began recognizing us from earlier streets. Children waved enthusiastically. Some happily walked alongside us for a while. Others pointed us towards homes where they knew there were babies. That sense of togetherness was incredibly moving. This no longer felt like visitors coming into a neighborhood. It felt like neighbors helping neighbors. The further we walked, the more I appreciated my team. Everyone remained positive. Everyone kept carrying bags. Everyone kept smiling. Nobody complained, even when the sun became warmer, even when our arms became tired, even when we realized there was still so much ground to cover. They kept going. I couldn't have asked for a better team. Every outreach may have one person speaking to the camera, but behind every successful day are people quietly serving without expecting recognition. Those people deserve just as much appreciation because kindness is always a team effort. As our bags slowly became lighter, something else became heavier: our gratitude. With every family we met, I became increasingly thankful. Thankful for the opportunity to be there. Thankful for the trust people showed us. Thankful that they welcomed us into their community. Thankful that our simple idea had become something much bigger than we imagined. Sometimes life gives us moments that quietly change us. Not through dramatic events, but through ordinary conversations, ordinary smiles, ordinary people. This was becoming one of those days. The more we walked, the more I realized something beautiful. Kindness travels in both directions. We had come hoping to encourage others, yet somehow they were encouraging us just as much. Their resilience inspired me. Their generosity inspired me. Their warmth inspired me. And I knew that long after the diapers were gone, these memories would remain. Because while diapers can be used within days, the kindness shared that day is something I believe we will carry in our hearts for years to come. As the morning slowly turned into afternoon, one thing became very clear. This was no longer just about distributing diapers. It had become a journey of human connection. Every road we walked led us to another story. Every smile reminded us why compassion matters. And every conversation left something beautiful in our hearts. One of the things I loved most about the day was that nothing felt rushed. We weren't racing from one place to another. We took our time. We greeted people. We listened. We laughed. Sometimes we stopped for a few moments just to appreciate the conversation we were having. Because kindness isn't only about giving something, it's also about making people feel seen, making them feel heard, making them know they matter. As we continued through the neighborhood, I found myself reflecting on how extraordinary ordinary people really are. We often admire famous people, successful people, powerful people, but some of the greatest heroes never appear on television. They are the mothers who wake up before sunrise to prepare their children for the day. The grandmothers who step in to raise another generation with patience and unconditional love. The guardians who make daily sacrifices without expecting recognition. Those quiet acts of love deserve to be celebrated too. Walking through Embulbul reminded me that strength often wears an ordinary face. Sometimes it looks like a mother carrying her child while still smiling. Sometimes it looks like a guardian doing everything possible to provide despite life's challenges. Sometimes it looks like a family choosing hope, even on difficult days. Those moments inspired me far more than I can ever explain. As we continued sharing the diapers, I noticed something that stayed with me. No one asked for anything extravagant. People appreciated even the smallest gesture. It reminded me that gratitude has a beautiful way of changing the atmosphere around us. A simple thank you can brighten someone's entire day. A smile can become a memory that lasts for years. Kindness has a ripple effect. You never truly know how far it will travel. Perhaps one person we met that day will remember this moment years from now. Perhaps one child will grow up remembering that strangers once came with kindness instead of expectations. Perhaps someone who watched us will decide to help another family someday. We may never know. But that's the beauty of doing good. You don't always get to see the full impact. You simply plant the seed and trust that something beautiful will grow. As we moved from one home to another, children continued to capture our attention. There is something wonderfully honest about children. They don't pretend. Their excitement is genuine. Their laughter is contagious. Their curiosity is endless. Some waved enthusiastically from a distance. Others watched us quietly before slowly coming closer. Some smiled so brightly that it became impossible not to smile back. May we never grow tired of being kind. May we never underestimate the difference one small act of love can make. And may we always remember that the greatest gifts are often the ones given with no expectations or receiving anything in return. Thank you for walking this journey with us. May God bless every family we met. May He bless the beautiful people of Embulbul. May He bless every member of my team. And may He bless you for being here and sharing in this story. Until our next journey, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, keep choosing kindness, keep choosing love, and may God richly bless you all. And thank you very much. Bye bye.